Hey
Hey
guys.
guys.
Yes. Okay, I'm raring to go. I did a presentation at houston.pm yesterday evening, and it was going over sort of tCMS, how it works. It really got into a lot of the technicals, and I got some good code review and some thoughts on the approach that I'd taken, which I've ruminated on overnight. And what I'm going to do is show you the next site that we migrated to tCMS, and then I'm going to start talking about some of the design decisions we've made and where we think we actually need to go now to scale the application and really make it successful.
All right then, let's jump right in.
So yeah, here's our corporate site, troglodyne.net. We basically migrated from Hugo because it was just not easy to author posts in the way that we're used to, which was like just that's the tCMS
Right.
experience.
It's not necessarily a WYSIWYG. It was never that much of a thing, like say with Quill or something like that. We do eventually plan on having support for something like that
Yeah,
as your post editor, that sort of thing, if you want to. But since for the most part we knew what we were doing, it was mostly just a form submit. Hey, there you go, that sort of thing. And that's what we found was kind of the good middle ground between knowing what you're doing and being able to actually submit, rich HTML, that sort of thing, however the heck you wanted to, and a bigger, bulkier WYSIWYG, which we don't want to maintain anything
yeah.
like that.
Some
Which, like now with Quill, that's actually very helpful because back whenever we had originally designed it in Perl, back in the days when WordPress was
PHP.
actually, well, WordPress was actually still pretty small,
Yeah,
and its WYSIWYG capabilities were actually very primitive as well back then.
yeah,
So like that back then was a pretty good way to do things, but nowadays a lot of users are definitely not going to like that, or they're going to do something stupid, inject some sort of code that they copy pasta that's going to be unsafe, right?
Well, yeah, and that's the big deal. You can't expect users to cut and paste HTML correctly. They're going to junk up something and fail to close a tag or something like that.
Yeah.
So you just don't need to be doing that. But thankfully, stuff like Quill looks like it's going to be straightforward to integrate, and all these backends where you actually do posting is going to be straightforward to handle. So,
Right.
um, anyways, so one pain point I noticed while I was actually migrating this was that I didn't want to actually show all the links up here at the top that we have, like on teodesian.net. I just wanted blogs, videos, download series about. Uh, that made me to where I had to sort of hack in a custom header for themes. Okay. And I realize now that that was probably something I didn't actually need to do. What I should have done instead was basically make it to where every single type of content, since we're planning on adding new types of content to tCMS, as sort of pluggable, where you can just sort of tick the box. I want blogs. I want micro blogs. I want files. I want X, Y, and
Yeah,
Z,
I
right?
want this category, that sort of thing. And similarly, where if we want to add to bolt on new types of categories that you can use for tCMS, making it to where it's kind of a check the box kind of thing makes it a lot easier for, oh hey, I installed this custom module that provides this, and now suddenly the checkbox appears to add it.
Yeah, and that would be very good from a business point of view because I mean that model already is proven to work. That's exactly how WordPress works in real life, right?
Right.
So
So, if we did want to add something like streaming, some sort of live category, that sort of thing that just has live stream page, then you can do that pretty
or
simple.
presentations or a catalog of items to buy in a store, all those sorts of things. So just to give you another quick update, we have series of videos. You can go in here and you can see things like programming videos. It's great. We're starting to migrate all the stuff that's currently on this YouTube channel. We're going to keep it on the YouTube channel as well. We're basically going to syndicate to there, but we're going to have everything up here on our corporate site so you can actually view it.
Well, right, because that's part of what drove us to go for tCMS and rewriting it in the first place was the trend and meme of disintermediation from aggregators,
Yeah.
which we probably touched on here before. But if you want to have your income secure, that sort of thing, and not as prone to disruption by the big boys, either shutting you down or temporarily suspending you, that sort of thing. You need some sort of other place to host your content. Now, of course, other alternatives like BitChute, that sort of thing for
Video,
they exist, that sort of thing.
But there will always be this thing
that
where
you're beholden to a third party to do this and that sort of thing, instead of I'm hosting my own stuff. So if you really want to take me down,
I don't care.
neener,
And
neener.
the fact is that you're building your own authority in search engines the whole time you're doing that.
Right.
And you're going to be okay either way. That's the idea, is that you want a stream where you keep 100% for yourself. You want streams where it's easier discoverable by these people on these walled gardens. You want all of it.
But the idea is transforming these aggregators into the platform for you making money into a sales funnel to your platform instead.
Exactly. And the sort of thing that I'm trying to look back on with regard to all this stuff, not just what are the pain points where I can actually do things better, it's sort of where did I overcomplicate the design, in that I need to simplify so that it more closely embodies sort of the Unix philosophy, or worse is better. There was a lot of things in the design approach that I took that was very much worse is better with regard to like the data model. Being very, very, very slapdash, very simple to put together, all those sorts of things. And the data model will get better. Certainly, I think the next step is going to be not just flat file with an SQLite index. It will probably be all of the metadata for every post is going to be in SQLite. That'll probably be very fastest way we can do it without it actually being in a search engine. But then I'll be able to bolt on possibly a search engine like Lunar fairly quickly from there. So I'm pretty happy about that. The other thing that I realized was I've known for a long time that some sort of the best way to design web applications is you need separation between the back end and the front end, and the ability to, for example, host the front end on an entirely different machine than the back end is very helpful. So and the easiest way to facilitate that is make the application API driven, rather than making it towards a traditional get post, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, it's more of a CGI.
Yeah, and so I realized that a lot of that was just like, that is literally the fastest way you can get things done, because you're not having to do a bunch of XHRs, you're not having to have very heavyweight JavaScript and things like that. But as I evolve the approach here, what I wanted to do was go the simplest, straightest path I could to actually being able to migrate and have sites real. And now that I have that, I can actually start to think about, okay, number one, how am I going to be able to scale adding these features that I want, and how am I going to be able to actually make the design underneath better to facilitate all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and whether that means making it API driven to the front end that just scrapes from the back end with JavaScript, or whether that means your back end creates a static site for your front end that can be replicated out to several mirrors, something like that, if you have some sort of load balancing arrangement with Nginx or whatever. Have you.
Which sort of gets to the other big pain point that we've been hitting right now, which is deployment, right? Right now, it's just a Starman service. It is run in a tMux pane. We don't have anything that is really helping you install it as like a systemd service. We don't have anything really helping you in those regards. So some of the big thinking that we're going to be doing soon is, how can we make this as simple as possible with regard to the deployment, so that I don't have to have those kind of headaches anymore.
Right, so that you can have it either deployed as a service, whether it's per user, like say it's a daemon user that controls just this site, say it's troglodyne.net service that you're like, hey, systemctl, restart troglodyne.net, or whether it's a thing more like a service managed by Passenger Fusion, something like that. We need to have the ability to facilitate all these different types of ways to run it and make it easy for users to make that happen.
Yeah, and one thing that is a flexibility that I'm pretty sure people will want is the ability to run multiple sites under one user, right? Because right now, basically, the config model requires the config file to be in home/.tcms. There's no segregation per domain or anything like that. So that's certainly something that's going to be revisited so that we can host everything under one user and possibly everything under have multiple domains hosted by the same server on the same port, and it just takes the header that is passed by HTTP servers that are proxying this to determine what vhost to actually send it to.
Right. Certainly as a CGI, that's a trivial thing to accomplish. People have been doing that since the 2000s. So that is not a difficult thing to do. It's just something that you need to do.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you're going to go for the static generator route, that's just a matter of your backend, like management CGI, so to speak, which is basically what whenever you log in, that sort of thing to tCMS, what that would be. If we just want to make static generator for all the stuff that's not behind a login, something like that, then you can also pretty trivially have your per domain thing basically just be like, well, whatever, just use traditional hosting because it's already statically generated it for you.
Yeah. And so anyways, those sorts of things are what I'm going to be focusing on here pretty soon, is getting those back-end design bits that are getting them fixed before they start to hurt more than they do now. And then I'll hopefully be streaming almost all of this. The idea is that now that we have a prototype that is mostly working, it'll be straightforward for me to show you sort of the iterative process and do a lot of programming streams. And hopefully you guys can join us on Twitch and help provide live code review if you are interested in something like that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been good talking to you this morning. Thank you for watching our videos, and please send us an email or any kind of feedback you want to, and we appreciate you watching. All right. Bye, guys.